Welcome to On Her Way, a podcast about grief and loss. Beryl Botman is my name. Good day. Initially, there is much to do. You are very busy with all kinds of different things. You are emotionally as well as physically drained and strained. You need your strength. You need to keep a clear mind and take care of your psychological well-being. You also need to find ways to soothe and feed your spirit. Strength is something that you draw from within, that is physical strength, but it also has much to do with what you get from outside. It is important to sleep well, to rest. I had a big issue about taking sleeping tablets. I was not very well educated about that, and when it was recommended, I had big issues against it. But my doctor discussed it with me, and I knew that I had to sleep, and I knew that before I went to see my doctor, I didn't sleep at all. And if you don't sleep, then you are too tired to do the things that is required from you. And besides being physically tired, your mind is also too tired to think very clearly. So I took that advice of taking the sleeping tablets, and it really paid off. I write about that episode in my book, Without You. In terms of having enough energy and strength, it also becomes important that you take supplements that is recommended by your medical practitioner and do that regularly, as well as eat healthy food. Now, initially, it is not possible to have a good appetite, but you have to know that it's it's mind over matter. You have to eat, even if it feels like force feeding, to keep your strength, and it helps to eat healthy food so that you can gain as much strength from the food to do what you are expected to do. And your program might be very difficult to fit in some exercises, but take your lead from those around you who support you, who invite you just to take a walk down the road if it is at all possible, and to do some sort of exercise. If it can be done on a regular basis, and for you to establish new routines, initially it might not be possible, but eventually consider this very seriously. So feed your strength and keep up your strength, because you need it, because you have many tasks that you have to fulfill. Keep a clear mind, and that also has to relates to sleep and rest. As I mentioned before, if you sleep well, you sleep long enough, and your body rests, then you are recharged to do the thinking that is required in all the decisions that you have to make. It also helps to stay calm if you rest, although that is not always possible, but as far as possible, try and stay calm, and breathing exercises are always good. Just taking deep breaths and breathing out really have proven to me great source of keeping my mind clear and staying calm. Try to remember how things were done before the death. Some of them you can continue. Try not to make too many different changes in the way that you have been conducting your life. Where it is not possible, you must consider doing the changes that is required. And when it is possible, after some time, of course, is get away from the situation, go for a walk. It doesn't have to be something expensive. What helped me in terms of clearing my mind was taking a walk along the beach. If you're at the beach, wherever you live, find a beautiful place and just be silent, be with yourself in order to clear your head. And so, of course, that relates to how you take care of your psychological well being. In terms of psychological well being, I found it helpful to seek help and support from a professional. You will know what your means are, what you have access to. Find out if there is any psychologist or other therapist or counselor, also in your community of faith or in the public health system, but use whatever resources is available in terms of psychological support and take the advice. Keep it professional. I wouldn't advise taking therapy from somebody who is not qualified, who does not have experience. So do seek out professional help in this regard. Sometimes you might have people that you trust, that you can talk to, that you can share your thoughts and your feelings with, and it is good. Sometimes it happens that you do have people like that in your circle. It can also happen that people that you trust betray you or prove they are not trustworthy with your innermost feelings and fears. Just accept that that can happen. It can happen with anybody. But as far as possible, try and choose people who are trustworthy, who love you, and who you know care for you. For myself, I found it very valuable that I could speak about my grief. I could speak about my situation. I found now that I'm thinking back over the period that I wrote about in the 5 years. Initially, I spoke much more about what I was feeling and what I was thinking, and that eventually became less and less. And I suppose it has to do with the need of being heard or the need of sharing. But everybody is not the same. There are people who much rather do it in other ways. But that is how I responded to carrying my grief. So know that you have to have some sort of outlet. I have encountered with readers who have corresponded with me or who have related their stories that they didn't have anybody to share with or that they weren't open to share with anybody, although there might have been people to support them in this regard. The only way that I approached it, that I can share with people in that situation, is speak out, tell it all, as I say, walk tall, share your experiences, especially because they are new. And you might not find people around you in your circle who have a close experience or similar experience, but generally, good people are there to listen. There are people, of course, who love to give advice even outside of their experience. So you also have to distinguish between the kinds of conversations that you have. But for me, I love having conversations. I needed to share my experiences, and I also had to open myself up to taking advice from people that I could hear and understand, had the knowledge and the experience. And then it is also, for me, it was important that I could draw on my self knowledge. I had to know what I want, what I like, what I agree with, what I don't agree with, how I react to different stimulus, so that I know how to respond to other people and also how to respond to myself in terms of my thinking, in terms of my emotions, and what I do. All of these interactions with myself, all of these interactions with others, the conversations and the exchanges and engagement helps to gain perspective, because loss and grief changes your life and changes perspective as well. So one needs to, or I had to gain new perspective in terms of almost everything around me. Then it is also, I found it important that I had to soothe and feed my spirit. And if you have established ways in which to do this in terms of your faith or your beliefs and the practices that you follow, continue with these, reevaluate it, be re-energized into that. Faith, in my instance, a pivotal role in finding a way through something like a dark tunnel where you see no future, you have no idea of where you are going or where you want to be, and just staying in the moment, staying in what you believe and what your upbringing has taught you, and draw on the people that you associate with your faith, your beliefs, and your practices to take you forward. In this way, I could nurture the new meanings that death brought, that entered in that way in my life, exposed me to new ways of looking at life and looking at experiences and looking at myself. In soothing and feeding your spirit, seek out beauty. Look for places that you find comfortable in nature, if it is at all possible, even in buildings. Buildings like beautiful buildings like museums or churches or mosques or buildings that people set out to make beautiful. Go and just be there and look around and appreciate the beauty in order for you to soothe your grieving heart and spirit. In your home, if it is at all possible, make your home serene. Make some little spot, a spot of beauty, a spot of comfort, a spot to retreat to, a spot where you feel safe. Find your comfort place. In my case, it was my bed and my bedroom, my garden, and the ocean. And then a very important matter is the people that surround you, the people that are important. That is close family, old friends, and new friends all become very important because your relationship has ended in a certain way with the person you have lost. There's this huge void in your life. And so I found that I needed people to help fill that void. I don't think it's ever possible to fill the void completely, but I thought it is necessary that I reach out to people and invite people into my life, nurture old friendships that you might have lost contact with, and also be open to form new friendships. I was amazed at how good people, new people in my life became as old friends, even as family. So I found it very helpful to be open to people. It is something that you have to make a conscious decision about. I remember how I actually didn't want to do anything with anybody and just stay in my grief, but I had to make conscious decision and take conscious steps to reach out to people, and in the end it paid off in establishing new ways and new people in your life, because at the same time while you are conducting new relationships and taking old relationships forward. It is also sometimes for some people a matter that you have to deal with when people that you know, people that you love, people you thought loved you, reject you. And you have to deal with that. And if you have others who do love you, dealing with that rejection becomes lighter. But this is also an issue that needs discussion in your therapy or counseling sessions. And so set goals and aims about social interaction. Socialize with your peers. If you happen to be widowed or newly single and you have children or minors who you have to take responsibility for, make sure that you also make time for socializing with peers. Commit to it. When people invite you, accept the invitation. And if people offer to help you, accept the help. This is one of the big lessons that I have learned and have written about in my books, is how to accept help and not think that I can do everything and cope with everything on my own. Be open also for some entertainment. One needs time off from doing all the difficult and challenging things. Read more about how I coped with my own wellness in my books, Without You or Sedert die dood ons skei, as well as Still Love Remains or Steeds bly die liefde. Take care of all of you to function and to be, to continue against whatever negativity you might feel. Be open to offers of help. People generally mean it when they offer help. Accept invitations, and when ready, extend invitations. Love yourself. You have been listening to Wellness Matters on my podcast, On Her Way with Beryl Botman. Walk tall, tell it all. You've been listening to On Her Way with Beryl Botman. You can purchase my books online on Amazon, Take-A-Lot, and at bookstores like Exclusive Books, Bargain Books, independent bookstores, and Barnes & Noble internationally. To connect with me, please follow me on Facebook to learn more about my book launches and talks. You can write to me at beryl.botman60@gmail.com. Thank you for listening.